is AP News. The AP's Margie Zarletta takes us to the movies.
Audiences keep saying yes to Moana and Wicked, but they say no to a new Marvel Cinematic Universe movie.
Can I get it?
Moana 2 is still a massive force at the box office. It added another $26.6 million to its domestic earnings in its third weekend, according to studio estimates. Wicked is in second place with $22.5 million. Kraven the Hunter, based on a Spider-Man character, made only $11 million. It's one of the worst openings for a Marvel project and puts it in third place. Gladiator 2 is number 4 and Red One is 5th. I'm Archie Zarletta.
President Biden and Vice President Harris are thanking Democratic donors who raised record sums in last month's election loss to President-elect Donald Trump. They're urging financial backers not to lose hope and to remain engaged. I'm Rita Foley, AP News.
This is 8:20 a.m. WCPT Willow Springs and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. We'll see a few spotty areas of rain showers early today, otherwise areas of fog at times. Cloudy skies, temperatures rise early, then slowly fall throughout the day. South winds at 10 to 15 miles per hour, gusting as high as 30. Then for tonight, mostly cloudy, a low near 31. By Tuesday, partial sunshine develops, high around 40 degrees. Wednesday, a chance for snow early, cloudy, high of 36. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 47.
Out Chicago.
If you think of every single thing from the Supreme Court to deporting these poor immigrants who are just trying to work hard and feed their families and have a better life, to the trans community that was thrown under the bus, you just wonder, where will the hate, where will the fear end? And if you keep thinking about it, like I just mentioned, it's a nowhere street mentally.
Catch Out Chicago every Sunday, 11 to 1 on WCPT 820.
William is one of millions of Americans who uses GoodRx to save on the cost of their prescriptions.
My oldest daughter, Camilla, 2 days old, she had to have open heart surgery. All of a sudden, she's on 5 different medications. It adds up at the end of the month. Me and the pharmacist got so tight. She said, GoodRx save you a lot of money. Saving that extra $200-300 a month. We're able to do all these extra activities, so it puts less stress on our household, and it puts less stress on our pockets.
Download the free app or visit GoodRx.com and start saving today. GoodRx user compensated for their time. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's progressive talk from TuneIn.
Welcome to Choose Views with Richard Chew. Get ready to dive into a world of insightful conversations and thought-provoking discussions.
As progressives, our job is to have an all-inclusive, full-on assault with all of our players.
A show that will focus on moving our political, social, economic, gender, and cultural conversation forward.
And all of our players means all of our players.
It's Choose Views. And now, here's your host, Richard Chew.
Good Monday morning, progressives, and welcome to the December 16th, 2024 edition of Choose Views. 773-763-9278. Facebook Live, TuneIn Radio, YouTube, Twitter Stream, iHeartRadio. It's December 16th. That means we're halfway through the last month of the year. Does that look okay? Is that all right? Yeah. Good deal. All right, stop messing with the camera, Richard. Email me at richard@WCPT820.com. My man Devin has got us on the rails this morning. Catch all of our shows by subscribing to our WCPT podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. That's where you can get the short version and the long version of different episodes of Choose Views, and we'd love to have you there. Check out Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive. Patty Vasquez, Driving You Home. The Big Picture with Edwin Eisendrath. And, of course, our wonderful folks over at Out Chicago and our other shows and interviews. Yes, it's checking out heartlandsignal.com. That's our digital platform. And there's lots of good stuff there. Say it every day because that's the truth. And we want to see you guys over there so you can share in this crazy time that we're in. And we know that we're a little over a month away from the inauguration. We understand that. So share good content. It keeps you active. It keeps the people that you care about plugged in, and it allows you to not just be sitting on frustration about things that are going on. So that's the reason that I say every morning on every show to share the content that you see. It'll let people know that maybe are in disbelief or don't believe that something is being said or talked about. You can give them a third party, sort of objective source to verify and validate what you're talking about. So make your way over to heartlandsignal.com, our digital platform. It's Monday, the 16th, and we've got it's holiday season. So as we oftentimes, most of the time, have on our show as call-in guests, they fit into the category of some area of political, social, local, regional, national politics, and the like. And every now and again, we decide that, we've got something going on in the local market that is either seasonal or very specifically topical. And that's what we've got going on today with our guests. We've got two wonderful people that will be with us this morning from the Jazz Gospel Messiah, which is returning to the Auditorium Theatre on January 11th. Too Hot to Handel, Handel. So that powerhouse group will be with us this morning, or two members from that group, Alfreda Burke and Roderick Dixon will be with us. So looking forward to having them with us in the 7:30 hour. You want to plug into that, and we'll talk about the wonderful work that they're doing. So with it being the season, we wanted to incorporate a little bit of a seasonal guest or two this week to get you guys kind of welled up for next week being Christmas. And as much as I'm going to talk about the craziness that goes on and is going on in our political, social, economic world, I'm going to do my best this week to keep some good spirit, some fun stuff in front of you guys as best I possibly can. Shout out to Eric Grant of the Family Meeting and Michelle Peltier and Drunk A. Adrian. Had a chance to roll with them yesterday on the Family Meeting. So for those of you who had to endure that craziness, it was lots of fun and lots of craziness. And, that's how, when the four of us get together in any venue, but particularly on the Family Meeting, it's kind of nuts. And we are the epitome of folks that talk over each other. But we're also very plugged into the issues that are at hand. And we talked about, is it fear or is it regular sort of ongoing normal trained behavior? And what were we talking about? We were talking about why people have not responded, but why people have why people voted the way that they did. And so if you get a chance and you want to listen to that show, reach out to me and I'll get Eric to send you a replay, because it was a good conversation. But it was good to hang with those guys yesterday as well. Lots of fun as always, rolling with those three crazies. And Devin's walking in with a smirk on his face, like, yeah, it's a technological challenge every now and again, but because they're doing the show as a remote broadcast. But anyhow, it was great to see them, and shout out to them if they happen to be listening this morning. And I got to give a couple of quick shout outs. I got to make sure I find this. There are two people that I have to give shout outs to. The first one is Jay out in Los Angeles, who was listening to the Family Meeting yesterday. And I come to find out that he listens to a lot of our shows here on WCPT, and he listens to Choose Views. So, Jay, if you're listening, shout out to you this morning. Send a text to 773-763-9278, or you can call in. So a shout out to Jay out in Los Angeles. And also shout out to Auntie Sherry in Vegas, who was also listening to us yesterday and listens to our broadcast here on WCPT and listens to Choose Views. So thanks to Auntie Sherry and to Jay for following our show from Las Vegas and from Los Angeles. That means y'all have to get up at scary o'clock in the morning to listen to this broadcast. But we appreciate that more than you can imagine, and it's really a joy to be here. And frankly, it's a blessing to be able to sit here with you guys every weekday morning from 6 to 8 a.m. We have great engineers. I always have to give my guys and gal, that being Lady B, their props, because without them, we'd be running around going, okay, which button do I press? Okay, and there's only a few people that know the real code. So thanks to Devin as always. Thanks to Henry. Thanks to Lady B. Thanks to Paul. Thanks to Mike. Who am I? Did I miss anybody? I think I got everybody.
See Alex yet?
And, oh, geez, thanks to Alex. Alex, don't be upset, man. Sorry about that. Good Lord. So there you go, guys. Happy Monday. The weather's kicking behind right now in different places in the country. I mean, we here in the upper Midwest, specifically Chicago, we kind of caught a little bit of a break. I mean, it was cold, but we haven't gotten this. I mean, San Francisco, from what I read, San Francisco got its first ever ice storm. Yeah. So imagine driving on that crooked street. What's it called? Doggone it. The street in San Francisco that's, oh, gosh. Anyhow, imagine trying to drive on that on ice or any of the streets, in San Francisco if they had an ice storm come through. So crazy weather, y'all. Anybody that says that climate change is not a reality has lost their doggone mind. Because, that's not normal. And then this weather that the Northeast has gotten, I don't know, guys. We can't be so I don't know, so arrogant about it that we don't recognize how climate change is impacting us all over the world. And as a political issue, even more so as a social and economic issue, there are parts of the world that have had migration issues because of climate change and economic issues as well, and safety issues. But climate change is impacting the trends and where people are spending their lives right now, and how people are trying to get from one part of the world to another for safety reasons, if nothing else. And all you have to do is take a moment and just you can watch the Weather Channel, but you can also watch National Geographic, and you'll find there are a lot of people in different parts of the world that are dealing with even crazier climate issues than we are, just say, here in the United States. So let's not sleep on that as a political issue. And it's an opportunity. We talked about this a little bit yesterday in the family meeting in terms of permanent interest. Climate change and safety in terms of our climate has to be one of our permanent interests as a society. And that's not a left or a right issue politically. But it is one, and as I look at our weather, and I was looking at this information on San Francisco, I just thought, good Lord, I've been to San Francisco a bunch of times in my life, bunches of times, and the idea of them having the first ever ice storm is a whole nother conversation. But be mindful of this, guys, and as we face off in the new year with the Republicans, weather, climate change, a safe environment is something that we all, as progressive liberal Democrats, that's an issue that we can own. Some people have said that we've ceded too much ground in certain areas, and I would not disagree with that. But doggone it, and when it comes to the weather, see, we all have to breathe, we all have to drink water, all these things that we have to do in terms of living in a society where we don't have San Francisco having an ice storm. That's an issue that shouldn't be a partisan issue, but it has become one because we have these knuckleheads on the right who don't think that climate changes are taking place. Bless you, Devin. I changed the climate in here when I showed up. Now my man Devin's got sneezies going on. But seriously, y'all, the climate is not it should not be a partisan issue. San Francisco having this kind of weather should be a non-biased, non-partisan American issue or global issue, if you want to expand it to that space. So that's one that we can talk about every day. We can force our elected officials on any level to talk about that every single day, whether it be Mayor Johnson here in Chicago and the city council, whether it be the county officials in all our Cook County and our collar counties, if you will, the state of Illinois with Governor Pritzker, the regional elected officials, our national officials. There has got to be more conversation around what we do to positively impact the climate. And it's almost like during this election, if you think about it, Devin, I don't remember, and I'm not pointing fingers at Vice President Harris or President Biden, and I'm frankly I'm not pointing issues at the Republicans, but nobody really talked about the climate during this election season, right? Do you remember? I mean, honestly, and this is just grown folks being grown folks. Devin, do you remember anybody on either side at all talking about, in any, like, I'm going back to the DNC, and we were there at the United Center. Do you remember any politician? I can tell you one. There is one person that did talk about it. And we actually had him as a guest on our show. But that wasn't really center stage conversation at the DNC. It certainly wasn't at the RNC. Right? I mean, anything you can think of?
Not at those, other than Trump doubling down on his whole, the windmills are killing whales, but that's about it, really.
Yeah. Ben Jealous, who is the head of the Sierra Club, we had an opportunity to interview him. He was a former head of the NAACP. Google him. We're going to have him on the show probably definitely in a new year. But he talked about it. He talked about it from an economic standpoint and how we can benefit from controlling what we do with the environment and making it an economic upside for the country. But outside of that, yeah. So anyhow, guys, listen, let's take a quick break. Of course, the number is 773-763-9278. When we come back, we're going to chat about some other things. We got some clips. There you go. We'll be right back.
If you're interested in buying a home in the near future and you're looking for a real estate professional that's going to have your back, we bring them on the air right here at the Home Buyers Hour. Every Saturday morning at 6 o'clock, we're going to have some of the best real estate agents, attorneys, mortgage brokers, and myself, a home inspector, right here on WCPT AM 820, where the facts matter.
Have you heard? Affordable healthcare is better than ever. And right now there are more carriers and plans to choose from. If you're between 18 and 64 years old with a household income of $25,000 or less, this message is for you. Right now the government's Affordable Care Act is available for individual and family health coverage plans with little or no cost to you. Don't gamble with your health. Call Healthcare for All at 800-264-0899. That's 800-264-0899.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's progressive talk from TuneIn.
Good morning. You're waking up with Richard Chew.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
We're live and ready to hear from you. Text or call us now at 773-763-9278. Same number. Simple as that. Let's get the conversation going on WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk.
Hey guys, welcome back to Choose Views. Yes, you can text us at 773-763-9278. Just send a text out to my man Brett. Thanks for tuning in this morning, guys. Shout out to my road dogs down in Florida, down in the Fort Lauderdale area. Good morning to you guys. Just waking up listening to our show. So you know who you are, Rick and Jim and Ann. Yeah, good morning, guys. All right, Devin, let's talk about what's happening over in the Choose Views news world. Because the Teamsters are pressuring Amazon. Teamsters are keep making inroads at Amazon. Members at 2 New York City area Amazon warehouses have unanimously voted to authorize a strike potentially today, actually. The Teamsters say Amazon has a mid-December deadline to negotiate a new contract for workers at Staten Island's JFK 8 and Queens DBK 4 facilities, but has refused to engage. The class sets up a possibility, now this is crazy, of 5,500 warehouse workers walking off the job just days before Christmas. Separately, more than 1,000 Amazon workers in San Bernardino, California, a West Coast hub, joined the Teamsters in that fight this week. Wow, that's a big deal during the holidays to have that many people that are warehouse workers decide to pull up stakes. Workers' salaries are a sore point. A clear majority of U.S. workers, nearly 7 in 10, feel as if their jobs are secure based on data from the Pew Research Center. But a deeper dive shows that doesn't quite translate to true happiness at work. Roughly half of nearly 5,300 workers said they were extremely or very satisfied with their jobs overall. And even smaller, 30% said they were highly satisfied with their compensation. Now, there are other sore points, according to CNBC's report. 40% of workers are unhappy with their employer's lack of remote flexibility, and 38% feel stuck, saying they don't see pathways towards promotions. So, there's some solutions there, and it starts with talking about how to give people more opportunity or provide them with opportunities to move laterally or vertically within companies. Fintech firms are opting for AI over hiring. The buy now, pay later company Klarna hasn't made a single hire in the past year, according to its CEO, telling Bloomberg instead investing in artificial intelligence. The number of employees has dropped 22% to 3,500, mainly due to attrition, according to Klarna's chief of operations. And OpenAI powered assistants is credited with doing the work of 700 customer service agents. The Swedish fintech firms, which recently filed for a U.S. IPO, has gone as far to have an AI-generated delivery of messages in its most recent quarterly results. So, interesting. Netflix, parental leave under fire. So what does this mean? Netflix famously generous parental leave policy, unlimited time off for a child's first year, is no more a practice that they're leaning into, citing the Wall Street Journal and internal documents that their current and former employees apparently had comments in this space. Too many staffers, quote, took full advantage of the policy, so Netflix is quietly changing the rules. Though it's never explicitly reversed course, some inside the company now worry it's losing the no-rules culture that once attracted top talent. Might want to revisit that, Netflix, because companies are looking for top talent, and if you take away some of the benefits that make it, more robust to work there, they're going to find other opportunities. All right, casual dining chains are on the decline. I didn't know this until I saw this piece in my news feeds. The past year has been brutal for one of restaurants restaurant bankruptcies and closures. And the casual dining sector has suffered some of the worst blows. According to The Atlantic, American dining habits have tended toward the extremes of the pricing spectrum post-pandemic. In other words, leaving mid-priced establishments in the lurch. A shift toward takeout hasn't helped, with nearly 3/4 of restaurant meals now consumed off-site. And while this fast casual sector has expanded to pick up the slack, the decline of the middle-class sit-down chain represents yet another loss for the country's diminishing supply of third places to go. And last but not least, obesity declines pegged to the GLP-1s. Obesity has declined in the United States for the first time in years. Going back to 2023, researchers giving preliminary credit to the proliferation of GLP-1 weight loss drugs like Ozempic and Mounjaro. A study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association mapped changes in obesity rates in various regions against insurance claims for weight loss prescriptions, and noted that obesity declines were sharpest in the South. Sorry, guys. Where the drugs were most heavily prescribed. Elsewhere, however, a study in Norway and Denmark linked Ozempic to an increased risk in the rare sight condition NAION, which can lead to vision loss. I didn't mean to chuckle, but I could not stop myself from not chuckling on that one in terms of in the South. Sorry about that, guys. All right. This morning, when we talk about what's happening in our Choose Views, thank you for that little bit of a segment there. 773-763-9278 is the text number. I will reply back. Got the laptop rolling with me this morning, so I'm able to kind of see what texts you do get, what you guys do send out. So there you go. And sorry about that, guys. A little chuckle of myself. We had a really interesting weekend of things happening. And, how do I approach this without sounding completely like I'm being unfair? But I'm not being unfair. You guys saw that former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, is on the mend now after having fallen and broken her hip. And so we wish her well in that recovery. And I guess she's going to have in some ways hip replacement. So that's no fun. But I posted this on social media that it might be an indication that it's time for her to sit down. I'm not going to even get caught up in the ageism conversation. She's 85 years old and, apparently still doing good work. But it's probably time for her to sit down for her own health, particularly with this injury. But I also have to say it from the space, or from the place, I should say, that there are people who are chronologically younger than her that in many ways I feel like she's standing in the way of letting those younger voices come forward. And she would probably be better by offering her mentorship and helping younger folks who want to get in the fight. And when I saw that she was injured, I felt bad for her because nobody wants anybody to be injured, particularly somebody that you care about and you love. And we love Nancy. I don't know her, but we love her for all that she's done. So I'm hoping that the people around her, and hopefully her daughter, can say, Mom, it's time to sit down. It's time. And use her largesse, both financial largesse, ability to raise funds, and her ability to just galvanize. I mean, we know she's a thumper. She can get folks together, and use that as a tool to help bring younger folks into the mix. I don't want to see her go down the path that Dianne Feinstein went down. That's not necessary. So hopefully she'll be able to kind of get her head around that, and that her daughter and her children will say, Mom, it's time for you to sit down. We'll see what happens. But I saw that, and that was the first thing that popped in my mind. I said, okay, call a timeout. Let's the younger folks that want to be in the game get in the game and help them do the great job that you did, because she's done a great job. This last 6-8 months have been stressful for the entire Democratic Party, of which she's been a leader of for a long time in her voice, and all that happened with President Biden stepping aside, and we all know what the conversations were. But this could be an opportunity for her to step out gracefully. So I'm crossing my fingers that she will be able to hear that message from the people that are around her, and I hope that the people around her are telling her that that's maybe what she should consider doing. And I didn't want to let that slip through the cracks and not speak to that, because I didn't want to sound, be hypocritical in that space. I think she needs to strongly consider that this is a time for her to take a break away. No pun intended. I didn't mean that to come out that way. For a time for her to move away from the spotlight and be a support system, a mentor system for younger folks that want to get into the game. So let's hope that she will see that. All right, guys, it's that time. We're going to take a quick little break. The number, of course, is 773-763-9278. We shall be right back.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. We'll see a few spotty areas of rain showers early today, otherwise areas of fog at times. Cloudy skies, temperatures rise early, then slowly fall throughout the day. South winds at 10 to 15 miles per hour, gusting as high as 30. Then for tonight, mostly cloudy, a low near 31. By Tuesday, partial sunshine develops, high around 40 degrees. Wednesday, a chance for snow early, cloudy, high of 36. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 47.
WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter.
It's Choose View with Richard Chew on WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Hey guys, welcome back to Choose View, 773-763-9278. Okay, so Devin, you probably heard about this in terms of last week Trump rang the bell at the New York Stock Exchange and the markets went down. And I like to just poke the bear, poke fun at him anytime I can. But on that point of Trump and his involvement in our financial systems, you know, there is this conversation out there that hit the airways this weekend that he wants to get rid of the FDIC, which he won't be able to do because there's too many people who have money in our banks that would be, there would be a run on our banks if that happened. Well, let me back up and say that. There could be a run on our banks. The possibility of there being a run on our banks would be extraordinarily high. And there are people who are alive that went through what that was like back in the 20s and 30s. So there's still some people that were around that remember that, or they are the children, first generation children of folks who went through that. So that was a horrible time. My parents talked about it. Many of my aunts and uncles on both sides talked about it. And you guys all have somebody in your family that talked about it, that experienced it indirectly or directly. So I'm going to speak about this from two perspectives. The first one is I'm not so much worried that will happen because there's too many people that will be impacted by it. Now, I know that there's folks that have said to me, and I got various communications over the last few days that said, yeah, but that's the reason that Musk and Ramaswamy and Thiel are, really leaning into this whole Bitcoin, or not Bitcoin specifically, but crypto universe, because they want to be able to deplete and deflate our current financial systems. And Peter Thiel is one of those folks. He's made it. If you Google him, you'll see that he's had commentary around the need to alter our financial systems. So I don't disagree that there are people out there that want to disrupt our current financial systems. No question in my mind, they're out there. However, there are so many more people that have a bigger stake collectively than those three guys do in making sure that the FDIC, no matter what Trump says, remains in place. Act of Congress is also going to be part of this. From everything that I read and that I know, he doesn't get to use a Sharpie to get rid of the FDIC. That's something that's got to that there's going to require some congressional, not hearings, but congressional vote on this. If anybody, I think that the concern, and I've had this question come at me a couple different times over the last kind of 60 days. Should I leave my money in the bank? I would say I'm not giving you financial advice. Let me be clear in that. I would. I would also make sure that you know where all of your money is. So it's always good to do an assessment of your. And the reason I'm taking this slow, guys, is that I always the caution not to give financial advice, but always know where your money is. Always know where all your funds are, no matter how you, where it is. Know where it is. I'm not telling you where to put your money. I'm just saying know where it is and know how to access it in the easiest way possible with the least amount of stress. Should we still support our banking systems? Yes, absolutely. And FDIC is part of that. It would be, this is a great text I just got. In the FDIC and this Republican depression under Trump would make the Republican depression under Herbert Hoover look like a Sunday school picnic. That's true, because there's so much more money in our banking systems now, and there's foreign money in our banking systems. So I again, I'm not giving advice. I'm just saying from a commentary standpoint, I don't see that that's going to go away. That being said, know where your money is, know where your resources and assets are, and be on a day-to-day basis, know what to do in the event of. And that way you aren't going to have to deal with any crazy surprises. All right. I wanted to touch on that because I've had a couple people over the last couple of days ask me my opinion in that space. And so there you have it. All right. Staying on the what Trump said versus what Trump's going to do or be able to do. You guys heard the clip. You've seen it by now, or you've heard about the article, and you heard about the article in Time Magazine where Donald Trump talks about, the grocery prices. Wow, Devin. This is the same dude that said, I'm introducing groceries to the conversation, and I'm going to bring groceries down. The price of everything's too high, too expensive. And when asked and pressed in that space, he kind of blew it off to say it's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult to do. So essentially, you guys, those folks out there who said it's about the price of groceries, it's about the price of goods, it's about the price of this, that, and the other, you got fooled by the okie doke. Because he said it now that he doesn't really know if he's going to be able to get them down, and it's going to be very hard. Yet, during the campaign, he had so many people thinking, oh, he's going to bring down those eggs in my local grocery store. He's going to bring down all these other things. And now he's not even backing up on that or retreating on that. He just recognizes that he doesn't know what the hell to do, didn't know what to do. Here's the crazy thing about it. The man sitting in the White House right now, and the man and woman sitting at the top of the administration right now, they knew what to do going in. They have been doing it, and they would continue to do it. But too many people in America were hard-headed, arrogant, and candidly kind of stupid, and a lot lazy to not do the research. You knew more about what was happening on a doggone reality TV show than you knew about what the president and the vice president have been doing to affect prices in a positive way. You could tell me more about what the rankings were in the NFL, MLB, the NBA, soccer, on and on and on. But you couldn't, excuse me, guys, but you couldn't have a conversation about what the president and the vice president have been doing to positively affect prices on goods and services in America. And I got an email from someone the other day, and I talked about this a little bit, that criticized me for sort of glossing over that there are millions of Americans who are having difficult times. And I intentionally wanted to bring it to the conversation so that people would realize that I'm not glossing over that by saying that we have had a stronger economy in the last 4 years than we've had in really the last 4 decades, to be honest, based on the numbers, not my anecdotal opinion. So I'm not glossing over any of that. I'm intentionally and unapologetically highlighting the fact that a lot of people who have been impacted are impacted less than they were 4 years ago. That's the message that I want people to know. That a lot of people didn't do the work. A lot of people believed and bought into the garbage that they were fed by parts of mainstream media and by people who really don't have your best interest at heart. And so now we've got this dude who is a president-elect that says that grocery prices are going to be hard to fix. But yet, so if that's true, let's look at this from a couple of angles. If that's true, then he either lied or he's too stupid to know what to do to fix it. But it's a little bit of both, because he said he knew what to fix it and he was going to take care of it on day one, among other things that he said he's going to do immediately. It's going to be easy. He literally said, "This is Biden administration is at fault here because they haven't fixed this problem." When in fact they were fixing it ongoing. And secondly, he said, "I've got a better plan," but the better plan now seems to be it's hard, and he's kind of blowing off the responsibility that he said to the country to give me. So I hope the Republicans suffer politically for that. And yes, I said it full-throated. I hope the Republican Party and Republican voters who were arrogant, so arrogant that they said that Biden's not doing anything for the economy, Biden's not helping enough people, and the list goes on of all these crazy comments. But I specifically, let me be clear, I hope the Republican Party takes a hit and has some political disaster come their way because of the fact that they lied to the American people over and over and over again in this space. And along with that, the mainstream media didn't report on the successes of the Biden administration as it relates to the economy, as it relates to inflation, and as it relates to the working hard to get the price of goods and services down. They were deficient. They were negligent in many ways. The mainstream media, all three of the main and the print, all of them were negligent in that space to not properly report to everyday Americans. If everyday Americans want to blame somebody, they should blame the mainstream media, because the evidence is there that President Biden and Vice President Harris and other parts of the administration did not pass the buck. They did not say it's too difficult, we can't fix this. They may have said it's hard, it's going to be challenging, but they leaned into it. And so now Donald is saying, oh, no, it's going to be hard. And so I feel bad sometimes for the people who ran around saying, how awful President Biden was, and he was too old, and they had these issues with this and these issues with that when it came to President Biden's 4 years. And they wanted to go with the guy that said he was going to fix everything. I really feel bad for your stupidity. A guy that tanked casinos, that can't get a product on the market and stay and have that product be sustainable, that has to sell these, hawk these goods, guitars and sneakers and whatever other garbage he's put out there, and blew up our economy. And I don't care what any of these smart A commentators on any other news channels want to say when they talk about the employment numbers. Are they post-COVID, or are pre-COVID and the COVID bounce back? At the end of the day, all those guys and some women have one thing in common, and that is that they won't acknowledge the fact that their guy is the one that was responsible for a poor economy during COVID. He was given a great economy as presidents hand off the best that they can, and former President Obama did that for Trump. He screwed that up. Now this tax bill from 2017 is about to come home to roost. And then during that period of time, he didn't do anything he passed any legislation that was going to help grow the economy. We saw the job losses before and during COVID. So it all matters for those smart A's who want to go on network and news and talk about, are Biden's numbers the bounce back numbers? Well, if they are, then that means he did his job. He's supposed to fix things, and if bounce back is part of it, that's part of the job. So you have to include that, but it's beyond just the bounce back. So those people, I want to see them have, many of those Republicans, have some political disaster. And the folks who voted for this garbage, unfortunately, you're in that find out phase, because your guy told you he was going to fix everything, and now he's saying it's going to be hard, and I don't know if I can fix it or not, or if it's going to be something that we can, lean into. So you got bamboozled, but you willfully got bamboozled because we tried to tell you, and you wouldn't listen. Oh no, you liberals don't know anything. Okay. One thing we know is not to get lied to by a doggone fool like Donald Trump. That's for sure. And with that being said, we're going to take a quick break. The number is 773-763-9278. Guys, we'll be right back.
Around the Town, Chicago, with Al Besloff.
My wife wants to yell at me. Jane?
Hi, I wanted to tell you, I think you said Jane Hathaway. It's Anne.
Anne Hathaway. Well, that's Frank said that. That's Frank. That was Frank, but he was thinking of you, that's why. Okay, go back to getting dressed. I knew she was going to call, because I knew she was listening, and you make a mistake, Jane will catch you. So every time.
Sunday afternoons at 1 on WCPT 820.
Hi, this is Joan Esposito. 2024 is just about over, and we are taking a deep breath before 2025. WCPT is so grateful for our loyal listeners who've been with us day in and day out. In appreciation, WCPT is giving you a chance to win a $25 gift certificate at Fry the Coop restaurants with 9 locations throughout Chicagoland. Listen to win during my show, Richard Chu's Views, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m., and on Patty Vasquez, Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Fry the Coop is Chicagoland's answer to Nashville Hot Chicken, a fast, casual eatery that can bring the heat. Each piece of made-to-order chicken is juicy, flavorful, and spiced to perfection, whether you want it crazy hot or no heat at all. Fry the Coop satisfies your hot chicken fix. Fry the Coop with 9 Chicagoland locations. For more information, visit frythecoop.com. Eat local fried chicken and come get your happiness.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
It's Chu's Views with Richard Chu on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk.
Hey guys, welcome back to Chu's Views, 773-763-9278. Thanks for your text messages this morning. Shout out to Brett, shout out to Dave and Darian. So we talked about Nancy Pelosi. Maybe it's time for her to take a break. And, of course, we talked about Trump and his now sudden, well, I can't fix it. Bless you, Devin. He must be allergic to me, guys. That must be what it is. I got to change my cologne or something. And we talked about Trump and his, I don't know what to do now. But the one thing he definitely knows how to do is to bring a dude who was found not guilty by a mostly white male jury for chokeholding a young man to death. He knows how to bring that guy, Daniel Penny, to the Army-Navy game. So this is my comment to anybody and everybody, but it's my comment particularly and specifically to men of color that suddenly said they had to find their way to vote for Donald Trump. And I know the math, where the math is and where the real volume of votes were, and we've talked about that, and we'll talk about it some more for the lesson learned in terms of white female voters and white male voters for Trump in this election. But for those men of color who said, yeah, I'm going to give Trump a look, and that he's our guy. Well, first of all, now he's saying he can't fix prices. For those, so those of you who were like upset because President Biden and Vice President Harris hadn't fixed prices fast enough for you, your boy has said, I don't know what to do. He's kicking the can down the road. And he's going to dump it off on somebody else. Watch. But from a safety standpoint, the guy who said that he's going to make sure we bring back the black jobs and the Mexican jobs decided that it was a cool thing to do to bring a guy that, and Michelle had to correct me on this yesterday. He's J.D. Vance's guest. It wasn't Trump's guest, but Trump was there. And Trump, if you're the newly elected president, you say to the guy, nah, we don't need to do that right now. If you have any temperament for the people that you're supposedly going to serve. By bringing him to the Army-Navy game, whether it was J.D. Vance or Trump. Trump was there. He may have been J.D. Vance's guest, but Trump showed up. I would have said, nah, that's not a cool thing to do. So thanks for the correction from the text that I just got and from the correction yesterday. Michelle said this to me, Michelle Peltier. You just don't do that. It speaks to what he really believes. And even if it's Vance that if he were Vance's guest, why? I thought you were down with making sure that the people who were the voters that were coming your way, men of color, you wouldn't sort of have a slap in their face. But you did it anyhow. So this is one of those moments when I have to ask people, I have to ask specifically, those who voted for this ticket that, you know, look a little bit like me, this is the kind of stuff that they really represent. And we understand that the man who was in this chokehold had some mental issues. We get all of that. I'm understanding all of that. But this is one of those things that, in my observation, that Vance and Trump should have stayed away from. Why would they want to bring this guy? Because it's endorsing the fact that, you know, it's okay for that to happen. So we're endorsing. And let's put it this way. If the person had been that had been mentally ill, and that, let's say that he were a white male or a white female, I still don't think you bring that person as your guest to an Army-Navy football game. You kind of keep your hands off of that. So some of you who might be listening going, oh, here Richard goes again on the racial tip. Well, if that's where you are, then that's where you are. So I'll change it up to say, let's say that it were a white guy with mental issues, or a white female, or Hispanic female, or male, or anybody with that. You don't bring that person to an event like that. I just think it's not even bad decor. It's bad judgment, in my opinion. It's just, you don't do it. So I'll let that alone. I'll leave that alone. I just found it to be offensive that you would do that and not recognize that somebody's family member was lost. And you're going to bring the guy who got found not guilty, certainly not innocent, but not guilty, to an Army-Navy traditional football game that's supposed to represent us as a country coming together, you know. And then on top of that, you know, fans cheering USA, USA. I mean, once again, so you guys think I'm crazy sometimes with the stuff that I lean into and look at, but I'm really not. I'm just trying to point out the stuff that I know that you want to talk about when you're with your family and friends, but you don't because you're worried about what they're going to say. But this is where how we've lost ground. You know, we don't talk about these things. We don't call them out because we're worried that somebody's going to say, oh, come on, Bill. Why are you always going to talk about that stuff? Because we got to talk about it. That's why. That's why. So this is just bad judgment on their part. Well, it wasn't bad judgment. Let me back up. They knew exactly what they were doing. I don't want anybody to yell at me and go, Richard, it wasn't bad judgment. They knew exactly what they were doing. The bad judgment is in the people who wouldn't pay attention and didn't listen when we told you, don't vote for these fools. Okay? That's where the bad judgment lies. So, what can I tell you? All right. So, our folks to the we'll save those for the second hour. There's a gentleman that you guys should hear from that is known as the House Minority Leader, and his name is Hakeem Jeffries. And I think this clip sort of hits home with what a lot of people have been talking about what really happened with the numbers with this election and what people should really be paying attention to. So Devin's going to play this clip from House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries.
In terms of the battleground, what happened in the other 5? Well, in North Carolina, notwithstanding the fact that Donald Trump won at the presidential level, Democrats won the governor's race, the lieutenant governor's race, the attorney general race, the secretary of state race, and the state Supreme Court in North Carolina on that very same day that Donald Trump won the presidential election. Are we on the run in the state of North Carolina? What happened in Wisconsin? On the same day that Donald Trump won at the presidential level, Tammy Baldwin was reelected. Are we on the run in Wisconsin, in the heartland of the United States of America, when Tammy Baldwin won with a Republican president winning at the top of the ticket? What happened in Michigan? Another heartland state. Alyssa Slotkin won the Senate seat and is on her way to the United States Senate. Are we on the run in the heartland state of Michigan? What happened in Nevada? Donald Trump wins the presidential election, but on the same day, same set of voters, Jackie Rosen is reelected to the United States Senate. Are we on the run in Nevada and in Arizona? And by the way, in Nevada, all three House Democratic incumbents reelected. And in Arizona, Donald Trump wins somewhat convincingly at the presidential level. But Ruben Gallego is on his way to the United States Senate. Same day, same set of voters, same election.
The reason I wanted you guys to hear that clip is as we talk about Trump and Vance and how many people are out. There's been so many people out there saying that they have a mandate. And I like the way that Hakeem Jeffries speaks to this. And it's kind of the thing that the approach that I like to take when, something doesn't necessarily go your way. He's a silver lining kind of guy in this particular space. And we have to, as we re-energize and get ourselves stouted up during the holidays, we have to re-energize. We have to find tools and find ways to, in this national conversation and in terms of the White House and the upcoming administration, we have to find those bright spots. And that's what he was trying to do. That's what he was trying to say, that we are not on the run. We're not beaten down. Our ideas are better. Thank you, David Jolly. And we made major gains in this space about in terms of the elections on a state level. And we have to recognize that. And I'm hoping that people will be mindful of the fact that we made major gains in some areas and that the House of Representatives is still in reach and that we can push hard to get some of the legislation that we want discussed. That's what he's talking about there. And I'm hoping that folks pay attention to that and not pay attention to the garbage that comes out, but be focused on the things that we have as wins. It's important to be mindful of that in my observation. That's why I wanted you guys to hear that clip from House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. We're going to take a quick break, guys. The number, of course, is 773-763-9278. We shall be right back.
How would you like to get high-speed internet for about $10 a month with no annual contract? It's possible with Whole Home Connect, your internet superstore. The internet's grown up over the years. There used to be maybe one provider. Now you have multiple choices that you may not even be aware of. Whole Home Connect can help you. With one phone call, they will show you the best internet deals available in your neighborhood. And yes, we have deals as low as $10 a month with no annual contracts. Whole Home Connect is your one-stop discount store for all your internet needs. It's time to upgrade your internet plan and save money. Call right now for a free quote and to learn about internet plans starting at $10 a month with no contracts.
Call now, 800-257-5168. 800-257-5168. Call right now, 800-257-5168. Again, that's 800-257-5168.
Whether you get pulled over or get into a crash, drinking and driving will change your whole world. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
This is AP News. I'm Rita Foley.
Still a lot of questions about those drones reported buzzing over several eastern states. Representative Jim Hines of Connecticut says there is a lot of frustration right now. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas says there's no question the people are seeing drones. But as for who's behind it?
We know of no foreign involvement with respect to the sightings in the Northeast, and we are vigilant in investigating this matter.
He was heard there on ABC's This Week with George Stephanopoulos. Some parts of the East Coast are shoveling several inches of snow. The National Weather Service's Brian Hurley.
Into the Appalachians here, West Virginia, Western Maryland, and especially across central Pennsylvania and parts of eastern Pennsylvania, northern New Jersey, and parts of upstate New York, we did see some snow because it was cold enough to snow. Many of these locations saw 2 to as much as 4.5, maybe even 5 inches. of snow.
Small businesses are noticing some holiday trends among customers. The AP's Jackie Quinn on holiday shopping.
The National Retail Federation predicts holiday shopping this year will be up between 2.5% and 3.5% over last year. Small business retailers are pulling out all the stops this year to entice buyers in this shortened holiday shopping period. Owners of small retail shops say the top-selling gifts appear to be cozy items this year, like sweaters and fuzzy alpaca wool scarves.
Amnesty International says Serbia's Secret Service and police have been spying on journalists and opposition activists by installing spyware on their mobile phones. This is AP News. The entertainment update now, with the AP's Margie Zarletta.
Timothée Chalamet has been working for 6 years on his portrayal of Bob Dylan for the movie A Complete Unknown. Chalamet says he knew a little guitar because he played a bit in the movie Call Me By Your Name.
I had really rudimentary experience with that, but something. So the first time I picked it up, it wasn't totally new to me.
35 years after The Simpsons debuted as a standalone series with a Christmas episode, they have a new holiday special streaming Tuesday on Disney+. Showrunner Matt Selman says it's 2/3 of a movie.
It's paced like a movie, it has music like a movie, it has a deep, big characters suffering like a movie.
You're not the boss of me. Frankie Muniz, Bryan Cranston, and Jane Kasmerick will reunite for 4 episodes of Malcolm in the Middle. Muniz says in a video statement he's been waiting for this moment for 18 years.
I'm Rita Foley, AP News.
This is 8:20 a.m. WCPT Willow Springs and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. We'll see a few spotty areas of rain showers early today, otherwise areas of fog at times. Cloudy skies, temperatures rise early, then slowly fall throughout the day. South winds at 10 to 15 miles per hour, gusting as high as 30. Then for tonight, mostly cloudy, a low near 31. By Tuesday, partial sunshine develops, high around 40 degrees. Wednesday, a chance for snow early, cloudy, high of 36. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 47.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Paid for by Estella's Pharma.
You're listening to WCPT 820, because facts matter.
Welcome to Choose Views with Richard Chew. Get ready to dive into a world of insightful conversations and thought-provoking discussions.
As progressives, our job is to have an all-inclusive, full-on assault with all of our players.
A show that will focus on moving our political, social, economic, gender, and cultural conversation forward.
And all of our players means all of our players.
It's Choose Views. And now, here's your host, Richard Chew.
Hey guys, welcome back to Choose Views, second hour, 773-763-9278. Make your way over to heartlandsignal.com, our digital platform. We've got some great articles and posts there, particularly some of the Heartland Signal on X clips from some of the crazy A Republicans, from Tennessee State Senator Ken Yeager, was arrested on DUI charges last week. Governor Pritzker slams Donald Trump on the conversation around immigration and trying to create unnecessary fear through his boy Tom Homan. Down in Tennessee again, Representative Gino Bolso introduced a bill that would implement a $5 million fine for individuals or groups who mail abortion pills into the state. Michigan Representative Jim Runestad mocks people that need government assistance to pay for housing. But yet, these are the same people that say that the prices of things are too expensive. But for people who need help, they aren't providing tools to help them in that way. So make your way over to Heartland Signal. We've got some great articles and posts and certainly some videos on Heartland Signal on X. We had a little contest running. You may have heard the commercial spot earlier, but I'm going to give you a live read. Fry the Coop, not fly. Fry the Coop is a destination for hot chicken in Chicagoland, giving a Southern original Midwest touch to whether you want heat or no heat, featuring chicken sandwiches, tenders, chicken, and waffles. And now nuggets, all delivering happiness in each crunchy bite. Proudly not using seed oils, frying all of their menus items in 100% beef tallow. Stop by Fry the Coop today at one of its many Chicago locations in Oak Lawn, Chicago, Elmhurst, Darien, Prospect Heights, Tinley Park, and Bolingbrook. You can have a no-heat, mild, medium, hot, or crazy insanity. And to celebrate the holidays, Fry the Coop gave WCPT $25 gift cards as our little gift to you. So the contests running on WCPT are now open to listeners 18 years or older, so don't fudge your age, and residents of the greater Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana area. One entry per person, one winner per household, void where prohibited by law, and listeners may only win or qualify to win once every 30 days. Complete rules are available on our website at WCPT.com by clicking the contest tab. There you go, guys. Fry the Coop.
Pick a number, Richard.
7.
All right, caller number, we only have 5 lines,
Okay, so
caller number 5 wins.
Caller number 5 wins. All right, so there you go, guys. You get some free stuff, so make it happen. All right, so then, and of course, the number is 773-763-9278. Give us a holler, get your free tickets. It's a nice little contest and a way to throw some good food in your belly. All right, guys. One of the things that we definitely try to lean into here is when we hear other people speak their truth about what's going on in our political, social, and economic world. And most definitely, one of the things that happened this past week is you heard Trump talk about how he was going to levy these tariffs on Mexico and on Canada. So check this out. This is what I found really crazy, but cool at the same time. People in those two countries don't like it when you threaten them. They just don't like it, Devin. They don't like it when you threaten them. And the president of Mexico said, hey, boys and girls in America, specifically Donald Trump and the incoming administration, how dare you try to tell us you're going to tariff us to death and you're going to make our lives more difficult if we don't stop sending fentanyl and bad people to the United States of America. And Ms. Scheinbaum pushed back and said, no, sorry, dude, not going to happen. You're going to have to understand that we're our own country and you aren't going to make our lives any more difficult by the tariffs. And I applaud her for that. And listen, I'm a full red-blooded American, and I'm down with our country, and I support our country. I'm not going to, I'm not going to go down. I'm a patriot. I'm a solid, strong believer in our country. But the one thing you shouldn't be allowed to get away with is threatening our neighbors with that kind of garbage. And I'll put it into our own everyday living. If you have a neighbor that, won't cut their grass or is something that you're not, crazy about, you have a conversation with them. You don't suddenly say, well, if you don't cut your grass, or if you don't, change this in your yard, which is their yard, by the way, then I'm suddenly going to take a water hose and turn it on full blast and let it run into your yard and cause you some drama. You don't do that. You try to find a way to communicate with that neighbor. Now, granted, I know some people might say, well, Richard, what if they don't want to talk to you? Well, that's a different story. If they don't want to talk to you, then you still have to find ways to try to communicate with them as best you possibly can. But you don't suddenly threaten them with, I'm going to dump water in your yard. I'm going to make your life more difficult. Because their retaliation could be, hey, I'm going to dump water in your yard. I'm going to make it hard for you to survive and live in a way that's comfortable as my neighbor. You don't do that. And I can cite an example where, I had a situation where a neighbor had there was an egress where something from their property was causing problems on our property. And it got to a point where it didn't get out of hand, but it was certainly something that needed to be dealt with. And then when it reached a point where it was, there was going to be a potential point of no return, I emailed and I texted our neighbor yet again and said, hey, we really have to figure out a way to deal with this. And if you need our help in fixing it, we'd be more than happy to come up with a way to work it through so that this is benefiting all of us. Well, that so inspired them because they recognize that, yeah, you know what, this is a problem that's affecting my neighbor, but it's also eventually going to affect our property. And they got it fixed. And it looks great. And we're living happily ever after. And we're going to continue to, pass items over the fence to them and do those kinds of neighborly things and look out for them when they're, out of town and make sure that their car, we're going to continue to do all those things because as a neighbor, we want to make sure that their life and livelihoods are in good space. So you talk about it, you work it through. You don't threaten them. But our neighbors to the north decided not only were they not going to tolerate Donald Trump's attempt to try to bully them, but a couple of their officials went on record and said, nah, Donald, this is not how we roll. So we've got a couple of clips from our neighbors to the north in Canada that said, okay, you want to try the tariffs? You want to try to mess with us? We got something to say about it. So Devin's going to play a couple of clips from our Canadian officials to the north. Let's go with the MP one.
So yes, they are our neighbors, but we have stood up to them. We're in a different situation with Donald Trump, a convicted predator who's seriously undermining the democratic process in the United States, and he thinks he can just push us around. Exactly. He insults us. Yeah. The conservatives seem to like it because he's insulting our prime minister, but he's not really insulting the prime minister. He's insulting Canadians, calling us the 51st state.
That's right, exactly.
Once there was a Canada that had a flag that didn't need to be waved. A flag that represented who we are. We didn't boast about it.
That was Charlie Angus, a member of the Canadian House of Commons. He's part of the NDP, or New Democratic Party. Look, I'm not here to weigh in on internal Canadian politics, but I do want to highlight Charlie Angus's incredible speech on the floor of the House of Commons, where I think he's channeling the frustration of millions of Canadians at the way Donald Trump has been behaving and bullying the incredible country of Canada.
That's one clip. Then we'll go to the second one as well.
We will go to the full extent, depending how far this goes. We will go to the extent of cutting off their energy, going down to Michigan, going down to New York State, and over to Wisconsin. I don't want this to happen, but my number one job is to protect Ontarians and Canadians as a whole. This is coming. It's not if it is, it's coming. And it's coming January 20th or 21st. And we need to be prepared. We need to stand as a country. We need to stand united as Canadians and work hand in hand, shoulder to shoulder with our colleagues across the country, and we're ready to do it.
So in two different instances, almost said a Canadian leader said, no, we're not going to be bullied. And I think it's unfortunate that this newly elected president, this dude, Donald Trump, is threatening our neighbors rather than finding ways to really work with them. And I'm glad that these Canadian officials have stepped up and said, no, we're not going to let that happen. We're not going to just roll over and take it. I'm glad that they're saying no. I'm glad that they're pushing back. I'm glad that they're getting out in front and letting their citizens know we're not going to let this dude do this to us. That, to me, is just showing their leadership. And frankly, if I were in Canada and a Canadian citizen, rather, and a Canadian leader, I'd be saying the same thing. So what do we take from that? As Americans, we have to have the same conversation, make the same statements to this upcoming administration. No, you're not going to do that. If Canadian officials can fight back like this, then we sure as hell can in our own country. We sure as hell can stout ourselves up and say, no, we're not going to allow you to run roughshod over us, Donald Trump. Listen, I mean, you have to be willing to take that kind of a stand. All right, guys, kind of blew past the break. We're going to take a quick break. Number is 773-763-9278. We'll be right back.
The Family Meeting.
This is Dr. Sharon Bethea. She's at Northeastern Illinois to teach us about the history of Haiti. And think about this in the context of colonization that has caused things like what we see going on at our southern border.
When we talk about colonization, they choose to destroy and kill and massacre the people. So that began to happen. Indigenous people of that land begin to die out because they brought diseases and wars.
Sundays 4 to 6 p.m., The Family Meeting.
This is an important announcement for anyone who wants health insurance, even if you missed the deadline. Right now, you can get the health insurance you and your family need from top insurance providers, even if you have pre-existing conditions or no insurance at all. The Plus Benefits Health Insurance toll-free number has been extended to help anyone who wants health insurance coverage now, or if you need a better plan or a lower price. Call Plus Benefits Health Insurance now at 800-378-1388. The call is 100% free and the help is real. Call 800-378-1388. That's 800-378-1388.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
Welcome back to Choose Views with Richard Chew on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk.
Hey guys, welcome back to Choose Views, 773-763-9278. Glad you guys are participating in our little Fry the Coop contest. Always good to have a little contest going, and it's the holiday season, so why not? And Devin says we have a winner, so I guess that's a good thing. Then we'll do it again tomorrow. Yep, all week. There you go, all week, guys. So be prepared. You could win those tickets, and that's a good thing. In the 7:30 hour, we've got our folks from Too Hot to Handel, the Jazz Gospel Messiah, that's going to be premiering on Saturday, January 11th. And we're going to chat with them a little bit about their holiday work, and really looking forward to talking with these two wonderful performers, Alfreda Burke and Roderick Dixon. Guys, I left, when we went to the break, I was talking about standing up and fighting and being ready to fight. And these two Canadian leaders made it clear they're not going to take it. Justin Trudeau going down to Mar-a-Lago was not to kiss the ring. It was to let Donald Trump, this is what tariffs will mean to our countries. Ms. Sheinbaum, newly elected leader of Mexico, same thing. So in our own lives, we have the same ability to wield that same power by letting Donald Trump and his new administration know you are not taking away Social Security, you are not taking away Medicare and then affecting the Medicaid benefits in states. You are not going to just run roughshod over our federal government. And it means that people have to be willing to fight. If you value it, then you got to be ready to fight for it. And, you know, don't be like ABC and decide to roll over. And there's some legal experts that say that George Stephanopoulos should not have said it the way that he said it as it relates to sexually assaulting versus raping E. Jean Carroll in the case that ABC basically folded over this $15 million settlement. But you know what, you guys, don't go to Mar-a-Lago. Don't fold. Don't give in. Be like the Canadian officials. Be the voices that say, no, I'm not going to take it. I'm going to stay in here and I'm going to fight. That's what we have to do. And it's not that complicated. And the thing about it is it's not that complicated. It's really just determining how much you value the things that you say you value. And the benefits that you get from that, in my opinion, is that at least you know that they did not run the bus over you. And it's about doggone time that progressive liberal Democrats, individuals, not just the elected officials or not solely the elected officials, stand up and say, we aren't going to have this. And I'm not going to even say go down with the fight, because we're not going down. And the reason I played the Hakeem Jeffries clip is because I want you to understand this thing was close, much closer than one would want to talk about. And I understand that we didn't win the White House, we didn't win the Senate and hold the Senate and win the House of Representatives, but there were so many victories, and let us not be overshadowed by the bravado and the gaslighting from Trump to not see the areas that we did have wins and victories. And no, I'm sorry, Miss Lindy Lee, you traitor. We are not going to be relegated to the desert for the next 4 to 8 years politically. That's not going to happen. And then if you guys know who she is or heard about this commentary from Lindy Lee, who back in the summer was speaking glowingly about Vice President Harris and the money that she had helped raise and all these things as part of the DNC, the Democratic National Committee. And now suddenly she's turned on her and turned on the Democratic Party and went on Fox News. I mean, it just proves that sometimes political prostitution does work. I'm not even going to say I was disappointed, and I wasn't even surprised. And unfortunately, too many of the progressive voices just got right. Everybody got glowingly excited about Lindy Lee. And then as soon as she gets an opportunity to grab the knife and stab people in the back, she did it. And you guys who follow this stuff know what I'm talking about. She went on Fox and basically said the Democratic Party is done. And, the Democratic Party is awful. And I'm paraphrasing, of course. But, how do you do that? How do you go from inside of less than 90 days, you or less than 180 days, you go from wonderfulness to trash talking the Democratic Party, and she did it. And that's the part where I sometimes tell people you have to you got to do a little bit more work on folks. Part of the reason that we're in this trouble is because too many people don't do the work to really understand where people are. And to that end, it's led to having the Lindy Lees of the world run around, hanging out with and talking about. Listen, this is what I want. I have to say it this way. I've been tap dancing around this, so I'm just going to cut to the point. She used her access and her privilege to get close to the Democratic leadership. And the minute things didn't go the way that, and the Democratic and progressive voices, and the minute that she found an opportunity or an opening to say things that were ugly and nasty and basically stab folks in the back that gave her a voice, she did it. So what I want folks to start to do, and this is part of the lesson, Eric and Michelle and Adrian and I talked about this yesterday. What's the lesson learned here? There's a number of lessons that I think can be learned. But one of them is we need to push people to do more research, to be a little bit more prodigious when it comes to finding out who people really are and knowing a little bit more about them. And when they do not even stupid stuff, when they do stuff that's what I'd call political prostitution, they need to be called out in droves. by us. It needs to be made clear to them that you don't get away with that. And that is also going to be, I think, part of in terms of the lesson learned, our way of saying we have to be willing to call people out sooner. I've been saying this for months, if not years. You can't give people 6 months or 6 weeks or 6 days anymore. Because if you do that, then they feel like it's okay. No, call them out in the moment. If somebody says some garbage to you, and particularly if it's a lie, you got to call them out now. If you don't, they then either believe you agree with them or they think that you don't give a damn and aren't going to do anything about it. Let them know. And in this current environment, if we don't do that, then we're going to continue to cede ground. And that is part of the lesson that I think has to be learned by progressive liberal Democrats. Is call people out right now. Don't wait. Make it known right now. And I think we have a clip that I want to play that kind of speaks to the importance of doing that. And Mark Morial, who is a leader in the Democratic Party and has held many positions in terms of heading organizations in the WCPT and on. He speaks. Mark knows what's going on. Devin's going to play this clip for you.
Let's look at the numbers. The unemployment rate was 6% the day Joe Biden took office, 6.4%. Now it's 4.1%. The black unemployment rate was 9.3% the day he took office. Now it's 5.7%. The S&P was at 3,700. Now it's at 6,000. The Dow Jones was at 30. Now it's at 45,000. The important thing to understand as we mark this moment is, what do the numbers say? I think the second thing that's important to the Biden administration, I think they did not a good job telling the American people that they had put in place a long-term blueprint for the American economy. We need to note the numbers so that a year from now or 2 years from now, when we evaluate the Trump administration's economic policies, we look at what it means for unemployment, what it means for black unemployment, what it means for the stock markets, what it means for the American growth rate. These are the barometers by which we should measure.
He's calling it out numerically. And so you guys want to be prepared to call people out when they say things that are not truthful, that are not accurate, and certainly not relevant. He broke it down. And those are numbers. That's not, anecdotal. That's not his opinion. That's what was and what the Biden administration did. So we have to be prepared to call those things out. We have to do the research, and do the research not on just the data and the facts, but do the research on the people. We can't have these Lindy Lees running around, trash talking and backstabbing the people who are out there trying to get the work done. We just can't have that anymore. They've got to go. If they aren't going to be part of the team and fighting in the direction and doing like the Canadian officials are doing, then they got to go. We don't need them in our conversation. We just don't. We need the Mark Morials and the quality data that they're going to bring to the table in the conversations. And that's what I want us to do. I want us to be, again, the lesson learned. We have to be a little bit more stout about the people that we're putting in positions where they have voices. And even myself, I have to hold myself to a higher standard, like making sure that what I'm talking about is relevant and is going to hopefully inspire you guys to fight harder in this fight. So, I feel compelled to speak to you guys this way, and it's why I wanted you to hear those clips, because they're very, very relevant to how we have to fight. It is not a mandate, like Hakeem Jeffries said. We're not going to let them run the bus over us, like the Canadian official said. And when you come to the fight, come with data, like Mark Morial just stated. So there you go, guys. Clips have meaning because they capture what people who have a voice can do when they use that voice the right way. So quick break. When we come back, we've got wonderful guests that'll be with us, 773-763-9278. We'll also grab your calls before the end of the show.
Hey there, it's Carrie Joy with your Work Money Minute. Freezing your credit sounds drastic.
but it's not. In fact, freezing your credit is one of the best ways you can protect yourself from identity theft. Freezing your credit doesn't stop your credit score from going up or down. It's just a way to make sure that nobody can open an account in your name, not even you, without removing your freeze first. So to freeze your credit, you just contact each of the 3 major credit bureaus and you request a credit freeze. Just search up the term credit freeze and you'll find the phone numbers and websites where you can get it all done. And don't worry, you can always unfreeze your credit when you need to apply for new credit, like a loan or something, by contacting each bureau again. For more money tips, check out workmoney.org or text MONEY, M-O-N-E-Y, to 88285. Till next time, this is Carrie Joy saying take good care.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. We'll see a few spotty areas of rain showers early today, otherwise areas of fog at times. Cloudy skies, temperatures rise early, then slowly fall throughout the day. South winds at 10 to 15 miles per hour, gusting as high as 30. Then for tonight, mostly cloudy, a low near 31. By Tuesday, partial sunshine develops, high around 40 degrees. Wednesday, a chance for snow early, cloudy, high of 36. That's your latest Chicago weather update. Currently, it's 49.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
You're listening to Choose View with Richard Chu on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk.
Hey guys, welcome back to Choose View, 773-763-9278. Before we went to the break, I was talking about everybody stouting up and being a little bit more diligent and doing a little bit more work to make sure that you are prepared for the conversations and that you don't let stuff slip by and that you're willing to be able to challenge people and that you know some of the data points. That's how we are able to then fight back. So I want to just, to give you that quick reminder in that space. Now, as I said earlier, that every now and again we have to kind of sprinkle a little bit of seasonal fun. We are in the holiday season and we definitely want to do our best to make the best of it. And sometimes one of the best ways to do that is with a great musical performance. And this morning, we happen to have 2 of the members and vocalists from the upcoming Too Hot to Handel. And I mean Handel as in the great composer. The Jazz Gospel Messiah will be making its way to the Auditorium stage in early January. And we are fortunate this morning to have 2 of the standout vocalists with us, Alfreda Burke, soprano, and Roderick Dixon, tenor. Welcome to Choose Views. Good morning, guys.
Thank you. Good morning, Richard.
Good morning. Good morning.
Well, we can tell. You can hear the difference. But did you catch that, Devin? We heard the soprano and we heard the tenor.
Yeah, come on with it. Come on with it.
Well, guys, thanks for being with us this morning. This is a political talk show that is, and on a political progressive radio station. But I'm a holiday guy, just like the rest of us, and we all love the opportunity to be able to bring some joy and cheer, even in the craziest of environments that we all live in. And I want to just thank you guys for being with us this morning, and excited. I know you've got to be with this upcoming performance that you guys have at the Auditorium Theatre. Tell us a little bit about what's going on, and tell us a little bit about the performances that's coming up in January.
Oh, well, we're so pleased to be with you this morning. Thank you for having us on. And I'm Too Hot to Handle, the Jazz Gospel Messiah. It's just the potpourri of everything. You have the Baroque elements from Handel's original Messiah that he penned in 1741. In 22 days, mind you. And it's still, even though it has multi-genres, jazz, blues, gospel, rock, there's so many things there, even moments of reggae sometimes. It still has that uplifting, inspiring message of hope. It is based on the scriptures, as you know, from start to finish, the prophecy, birth, life, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. And it just brings hope to everybody. On the stage, you'll see an orchestra, a big band, a rhythm section, 3 soli, a choir, and an energetic, enthusiastic audience. So it is something for all demographics, all ages. We want everybody to come out, and it will certainly, you won't leave like you came.
That's Roderick. What are your comments about the upcoming performances?
Well, the Chicagoans who have been a part of the tradition of the show for 19 years know that it's a new show. We have some of our great Chicago people who are going to be involved in it, like Fred Nelson III on the Hammond organ, actually, who's the music director for Jennifer Hudson and was the music director for Aretha Franklin. We have Alma Waddles on the piano from Detroit, who's unbelievable. He's a monster. We have the Chicago Rhythm section from New Faith Baptist International. Joy Woolfolk, Sheree, and Juan playing. And then we have David Taylor from Chicago Symphony and Richard Herschel from Chicago Symphony. And then we have all of the jazz. Rajiv is playing solo in this.
Rajiv Halim.
And then we have, of course, the big band and the jazz players, as well as the string section from Chicago members. So it's a Chicago group with George DeLuto conducting an unbelievable choir that just absolutely destroys the auditorium theater. And I'm talking about the choir and the audience. They go at it. You understand what I'm saying? They get in there and they have a hot, it's really something else. It's something to behold. But the auditorium theater, I thank God for them, because that's our main theater. It's been here since the 19th century, and it's a beautiful, gorgeous place. And we're just so proud and so happy to be a part of this great tradition. And God bless our city, the city of Chicago, and the surrounding areas, because it's all about the people coming together, like you said earlier.
Well, and here's what's so cool too. You've even brought into the mix as part of the roster the music director or choir director from Old St. Pat's here in Chicago.
Yes, Bill Frere. That's right.
Bill Frere. He put that choir together over 19 years,
That's
and
right.
we call them the Gideon group. I mean, they come at you.
Yes, they have energy. And we've been doing the piece in Chicago since 2006.
Yeah.
And in Detroit at the Opera House there since 2002.
Well, you know, the beauty of the work that you guys do, as is true with any of these big, large member vocal groups, is that, to your point, Alfreda, you have so many different voices inside of the music, so many different styles. And when you can pull that together to have such an orchestral sound, I agree with you when you guys said you'll leave differently than the way you came in. And that, to me, words like powerhouse are don't even describe what you guys are going to put on for those performances.
Yeah, music is transformative, and it transports you no matter what you're going through. As you mentioned earlier, in life, you know, no matter what the environment is, music has a way. It's just an unspoken language that just reaches deep into your heart and your soul.
Once, Roderick, a friend of mine said this to me years ago: the message is in the music, no matter what the music is that you're listening to. And so that seems to be true with you guys. So one of my questions, and this is really more leaning into you guys specifically, tell our audience a little bit about your respective backgrounds. Alfreda, tell us a little bit more about your background as a soprano.
Oh, gosh. Sheesh, where do I start? I was... I formally trained at Roosevelt University, Chicago College of the Performing Arts. It was Chicago Musical College at the time. I got 2 degrees from them, and I've been singing professionally all over the world, I'd say nationally and internationally. I made my debut at Carnegie Hall and at Symphony Center, Chicago Symphony Center, under the baton of Daniel Barenboim and the Chicago Symphony Orchestra, singing in the piece Electra. So just been doing operatic concert repertoire, classical
PBS
repertoire.
special.
Yes, PBS special with my husband, actually, Hallelujah Broadway, in which we did the uplifting, inspiring songs from Broadway musicals, and that was aired all over the nation. So those are just a few things. It's hard to put it all into.
But she's missing out a very important element, as well as that her mother and father had come out of Mount Pisgah Baptist Church with Reverend Wells, and her godmother was Roberta Martin. So my wife is dipped in the gospel world and gospel music and understands what it means to go to church.
I'm a pastor's kid.
You're a PK?
Yeah.
PK.
Yes, he understands.
Pastor John H. Burke and Mamie Burke.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. I met her when
very special people.
I met her when she had those pumps on and she was playing the Hammond organ. And I saw her ankles with a little gold chain on it, and she was moving them feet around the Hammond, a la, Twinkie Clark, all that kind of stuff. And she'd come out of that. And myself, I'm out of New York. I came out of the same pathway she did. My father's a minister, Reverend Samuel Burke, and Samuel Dixon, as a matter of fact, First Freedom Baptist Church. And my mother, who left us this year, was a mezzo-soprano, kind of like a soprano. Had a mixed voice like Alfreda, can both soar the high notes and still give you the chest voice and bring it. And my father was a high tenor, and I have both my degrees from Mannes College of Music as well, and sing over the world like Alfreda. And actually said we did the PBS Special Hallelujah Broadway, and I've done a lot of different things. PBS with the tenors,
right? 3
mode tenors, and my favorite Broadway. I recorded a lot of different things, and so. It's been a wonderful joy for us. We have 2 beautiful sons, a beautiful daughter-in-laws, and 2 grandchildren. So we're blessed and highly favored. There's no shame in the game here. God has been doing it right and has done it all right all the time, and God is faithful. So we're very, very blessed. Very blessed.
Too hot to handle. The jazz gospel messiah. That's just what a great way to denote it and to label it. And the fact that there's going to be material using scat, backbeats, jazz, gospel vocals, instrumental. I mean, it's really going to be a phenomenal show, and I'm going to do my best to try to make it there as a member of loving as a person that loves all types of music. This is definitely going to be a treat. So I'm gonna put it to my wife and say, hey, we should check this out, because I'm excited about listening and hearing and watching you guys perform at the Auditorium Theatre. After you guys are done, what's happening in your 2025 performances?
Well, we have some very exciting things happening. Most importantly, we're working on 3 projects at the same time. We're getting ready to build a show to tour Europe, and we're working with an agency over there, and we're very excited about it. And it's going to be about American icons, and the conductor, George DeLuttle, Alfreda, and myself are writing the show, getting it prepared. We have some unbelievable singers and dancers, and one of the artists that we're looking at is an American icon, Duke Ellington, and of course the other one is our American writer himself, Mr. Cole Porter. So we're really excited about this new show. And, of course, we have our concert appearances throughout the United States, specifically Nashville coming up, and also Atlanta. And so we're really, really excited about the next 4 or 5 months of work, besides paying our bills. But more importantly, we get to move people and show up and not just entertain.
Yeah.
We get to move people. But there's a lot going on, like you said, and we have to be about the business of reminding people to stay humane and not just be human.
Yeah. Very good point. Very good point. Well, it's been great talking to you guys. And as I said earlier, having a little spice of what's happening in our music world and during this holiday season, giving big hugs and high fives, as I like to say, to those who are truly talented. As a soprano in Alfreda Burke, and as a tenor in Roderick Dixon, who will be part of the Too Hot to Handle performances at the Auditorium Theatre, the Jazz Gospel Messiah. Looking forward to being in attendance and wishing you guys nothing but success with the upcoming performances in January. And thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you. And let me mention it's January 11th at 6 o'clock.
6 p.m. Yep.
And January 12th at 3 o'clock.
At 3 o'clock. Yep. Saturday, January 11th at 6 p.m., guys, and Sunday, January 12th at 3 p.m. at the Auditorium Theatre. Too Hot to Handle, the Jazz Gospel Messiah. Appreciate you being with us this morning, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Have a great rest of the day. There you go, guys. How about that? I mean, if you like, whether you like music or not, I think this is a treat that you should, this is an opportunity to treat yourself to something that's unique and special. And as Roderick said, during this crazy time that we're in, give yourself something to look forward to and to be moved by. So it's good to have both of them with us this morning. Alfreda Burke and Roderick Dixon performing at the Auditorium Theatre in January, the 11th and the 12th. All right, Devin, let's take a quick break so I can get a sip of water. 773-763-9278. Guys, we'll be right back.
Are you tired of talking to yourself? We can get you an audience on the radio. You can produce and host your own radio show on one of our 2 stations. Please call 773-792-1121. That's 773-792-1121 and ask for Mark. Limited space available.
Hi, this is Joan Esposito. 2024 is just about over, and we are taking a deep breath before 2025. WCPT is so grateful for our loyal listeners who've been with us day in and day out. In appreciation, WCPT is giving you a chance to win a $25 gift certificate at Fry the Coop restaurants with 9 locations throughout Chicagoland. Listen to win during my show, Richard Chu's Views, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m., and on Patty Vasquez, Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Fry the Coop is Chicagoland's answer to Nashville Hot Chicken, a fast, casual eatery that can bring the heat. Each piece of made-to-order chicken is juicy, flavorful, and spiced to perfection, whether you want it crazy hot or no heat at all. Fry the Coop satisfies your hot chicken fix. Fry the Coop with 9 Chicagoland locations. For more information, visit frythecoop.com. Eat local fried chicken and come get your happiness.
Because facts matter. You're listening to WCPT 820.
You're listening to Chu's View with Richard Chu on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk.
All right, guys, welcome back to Chu's View, 773-763-9278. Great to have guests like that on the show. And every now and again, we're fortunate to be able to sprinkle you guys with a few folks that may not be necessarily locked into all the political conversations that we have here as a progressive station. But it's important to, as a progressive station, to talk about something that's near and dear to all of us, and that's the arts and the music that comes from the arts. And this is a special time and a special group that's going to be performing. So I'm glad we were able to have them with us this morning. As we wrap up today's show, the one thing that I try to follow is the number of people who send us, commentary, whether it be emails or texts and all that. And it's really funny, Devin, when you're watching the text real time and what people send. And so some things can be read on air, some things can't or shouldn't necessarily be read on air. But at the end of the day, there's trolls that are on the phone, and there's trolls that are in emails, and there's trolls that are texting. So that's how I'll put it. But at the end of the day, my position on this particular show is to fight back. And I know that we've had a lot of folks who are fearful and worried about what do we do next and where do we go. But the one thing you can't do is to not fight. And I've had this conversation with so many different people, and that is that the blame game, and how the Democrats are awful, and the Democrats don't do this, and Democrats don't do that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But at the end of the day, what you can't get away from, no matter how many people, whether you're on the right, whether you're a troll, whether you're on the left, whether you're in the middle, this is the thing that happened. This is the factual thing that happened. And if you don't say it enough, that's why I don't say you can't say it too many times. If you don't say it enough, then it becomes sort of regular and easy for people to get away with not dealing with it. And what is it that I'm talking about? That 75 million Americans voted for a 34-time convicted felon, an adjudicated rapist, a guy that took documents and hid them, and once requested by our federal authorities, decided to continue to play that game, so you could say he stole them. He's caught on recordings cheating the system, was twice impeached, fined multiple millions of dollars by an independent authority, was up on charges for trying to overthrow the results of an election. A large number of people voted for that. So we can have this conversation all day long about how awful the Democratic Party is and how awful Democrats are. Democrats are not awful. Some missteps, without a doubt. And the lessons learned: fight harder, fight differently, fight better. However, those of you who voted for, and this is why I unapologetically have no love for this, you said that you wanted to vote for a person who was of that caliber. And I would ask you this question face to face, and you don't get to do a whataboutism. You have to answer the question. Would you actually trust Donald Trump in a room with your 25-year-old daughter? And that's who you voted for. So you can say to me on text, on email, on calls, whatever, all day long about Kamala Harris. But until you can answer the question about that based on the evidence, and would you trust him running your financial portfolio, running your money, someone asked earlier about the banking system. Until you can answer that question and be honest about it without trying to play the whataboutism game, then we really don't have a lot to talk about, because you've made it clear you would rather vote for that than something other than that. And so I agree with Hakeem Jeffries. The Democrats are not on the run, and we're not going to be relegated to the desert politically. I don't accept that. I don't believe that. And largely because I know that our lessons, I believe that the Democratic Party is going to learn lessons and going to come back fighting stronger. And if you, as a Republican, or whatever you want to call yourself, decided that you wanted to see all these changes that the new administration wants to take that are going to ultimately hurt you, then that's on you. You can't blame anybody but yourself when you start to see the things that you said that you wanted protected suddenly go away. So if you voted for a guy who says that he has concepts of a plan for health insurance, and now is deflecting and saying that it's going to be hard to get prices down when it comes to groceries, that's on you. That's on you, because you made the decision to be so arrogant and to say that the Democratic leadership, the Democratic Party, the Democratic message was wrong. Okay. Watch what happens when the things that you voted for start to affect you. Or are you so privileged that they won't affect you and you just voted out of spite because as a guy you couldn't see a woman be president, or as a person that's not of color you just couldn't see a person of color being president? If that was ultimately your reason, then that's on you too. And I hope you sleep however you're going to sleep at night. Because I can assure you that my push is going to be, and I appreciate the text that I just received, that the Democrats are going to have to learn and use this as a teachable moment to how we get better and stronger and come back and thrash the hell out of the Republicans in the next elections, local, regional, national, statewide elections, national elections, and all the rest. It's time for some retooling. There's no doubt about it. But I'm going to be one of the voices that's going to push that conversation so that we can learn from the failure and that we do push harder to make sure that the Republicans who are so arrogant and so driven to destroy rather than benefit and strengthen the country get sent to pasture. Because I can tell you this, we aren't going out to pasture. We aren't running for the hills. Most assuredly, that's not going to happen. We're going to be the party that says, hey, guess what? We still got a lot of fight in us, and we're going to beat you the next time around. Because we are going to learn. And we're not going to let you back the bus over us like our friends up in Canada has said. How cool is that? How cool is it that officials from another country told your boy, who you Republicans who follow us and that troll us, how cool is it that they said, nah, we're not going to let that happen. I just think this is something to marvel at. They were like, nah, get ready, dude. We're not going to take it. And letting their other citizens know we're not going to take it. That's what we have to do here in America. Okay? And that's what we have to do here in America as well. And I'm hoping that folks hear that message and are willing to roll up their sleeves and be able to take that message from those Canadian officials and take that message from House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries and take that message from the Mark Morials of the world with the data and say, nope, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to talk about, and this is how we're going to go forward. There you go. Take that to the trolls. All right, guys, good to see you. Good to see you. Good to hear you this morning, and glad you're able to be with us this Monday, December 16th. And as always, take a deep breath, make your life count. We will see you tomorrow.
Talking heads down the dial who think they're always right.
People need to just calm down. It's gotten ridiculous.
Welcome to WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Quite frankly, I get most of my news from you.
This is WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk.
Are you tired of talking to yourself? We can get you an audience on the radio. You can produce and host your own radio show on one of our 2 stations. Please call 773-792-1121. That's 773-792-1121 and ask for Mark. Limited space available.
WCPT Replay.
I'm very pleased to welcome Barbara McQuaid to our show. She has a new book out. It's called Attack from Within, How